simply to gratify this temporary body and help someone else to gratify their temporary body. Who told us that? Where do we get this mission from? You've got to do as much as you can to please your temporary body and mind, and there's nothing more than that. Why are we accepting this? I was walking in Wellington once. Those of you familiar with Wellington know the Mountain Vic area. And I walked past a hair styling place. And there was a sandwich board sign out front. And it was quoting Mae West. And she said, "You only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough." Now, what do you think about that? In other words, if in this one life that you have, you acquire some good sense gratificatory experiences, just leave it at that and die in peace. What do you think? You only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough. Just see how low these aspirations are. But perhaps we have been victimized by such low aspirations. You hear people say, "I just want to live a good life and have a few good times, then I'll die in peace." How do we become infected by the zombie bite of such low aspirations? Can you see yourself? You can practice when you get home, not here. Say, no, you can't do that. You're alive. But you're alive for what purpose? What is so great about being alive if we have no understanding of our ultimate purpose? The animals are also alive. At least until we kill them to gobble them up. But so many species like that are alive, the trees, the birds. What's so special about being alive? What is important about a human being alive is that you can have a discussion like we're having now. Rather than be like a moth flying in the fire, you can do a U-turn and start to think about yourself. Why am I living my life in this way? Am I just matter? If I'm just matter, then nothing should matter. If I'm just a collection of random interactions of atoms and molecules, then why should I worry about anything? Just let everything go on being random. But no, we have purpose. We want to plan. But if the goal of that purpose and plan is simply to get what the animals get, without the anxieties we go through, without the planning we have to go through, then what's the point? When you read Bhagavad Gita, then you get a vision for the glories available to the real human being. We spoke briefly about a preliminary characteristic of genuine spiritual development. You see all living entities as equal. Regardless of their different bodies, you know that they are spirit soul, part of the Supreme Soul. Seeing that equality on the spiritual platform, you can then benefit others. We're hungry to love, we're hungry to get love. But ignorant of our true identity, how can we actually benefit others and benefit ourselves? If you really love someone, if you really care for someone, then we're helping them to break out of the zombie conditioning, Just like in the drama, Sean tried to rescue his girlfriend from the zombies. What about the effort to rescue human beings from zombie-like existence, living blindly, although in a very complicated way? We need higher knowledge. So please think of this point. We all want pleasure. Could it be that the highest pleasure depends on the highest knowledge? The more comprehensive and non-material your knowledge is, the better your pleasure will be. And this is the reward that Krishna presents to you in Bhagavad Gita. When you actually know who you are and when you actually know what you should be doing, then you can be a candidate for genuine pleasure. Otherwise, we're doomed to accept such a substandard version of pleasure. And because that's all people know, naturally they're attached to that substandard version of pleasure. They can't even call it substandard. They have nothing else to compare. So you might think, oh, zombie life looks very empty. But maybe the way we're living is not much better. We want to implore you to please think about how to take your life to a much deeper level. And that way you'll be authentic and for real. Zombies don't look authentic. But what makes our life real and authentic? What are we doing that really allows you to say to someone else, I'm authentic, I'm for real, and I want you to be authentic and for real? We're ignorant of our spiritual identity. All we know is physiology and psychology. We're ignorant of what the real goal of life is. Basically, people have the attitude, well, you don't know, I don't know, no one knows. So why should we think about these things? Let's just march on. And we feel good about ourselves because we're not marching on like zombies. No, we are living human beings. But what's the point? Remember, the moths have a purpose. They fly into the fire. What Krishna is offering in Bhagavad Gita is the knowledge necessary for transforming a human life of ignorance to a human life that is beyond matter, beyond time and space. That knowledge that Bhagavad Gita gives takes you to the highest pleasure. Pleasure depends on knowledge. It's not that without any higher understanding, we can just grope our way to pleasure, stumble our way to pleasure. Because, well, that's what everyone else says. That's what everyone else is doing. No, the point Krishna makes in Bhagavad Gita is that the wise person, because of transcendental knowledge, knowledge beyond the temporary, connects, that wise person connects with real pleasure. Whereas one who lacks that knowledge simply stumbles around on the temporary platform of matter. That means things that have a beginning and end. The real program of the human being is upliftment. That means to another level, rather than become entombed on such a gross level of existence. But people aren't given that knowledge, and that is the great tragedy. Therefore, you could say in terms of material perceptions these days, the less you know about your life, the better. The more superficial you are, the better. For career success, for social acclaim and prestige and social respect. As soon as you start to put transcendental knowledge first in your life, as soon as you start to put the big issues, the big questions in life as first, and some people start looking at you like, what's happened to you? What are you doing to your life? Why are you concerned about these things? You're going to be missing out. You're going to be missing out on what? Well, some good physiological stimulations, some good psychological stimulations. What else do we have to offer to you? We have to offer to you, what we have to offer to you is good things for your body, good things for your mind. And you might meet Mr. Right or Miss Right, and they can offer you all the above. Good stuff for your body and mind. What more do you want in life? This is a great tragedy. From the viewpoint of Bhagavad Gita, this is zombie-like existence. So what will make the difference between the dead and the walking dead? What makes a difference is transcendental knowledge. Knowledge that goes beyond what has a beginning and end. Knowledge of the spiritual reality. And that's what Krishna is giving in Bhagavad Gita. So please think how we can deal with all the social conditioning that's covered us, enshrouded us. How we can snap out of our zombie-like existence. Why should we be content to just stagger along without any higher understanding of ourselves? Not only do we need higher understanding of ourselves, but we also need understanding of the Supreme Self. The two go together. Self-realization and knowledge of Krishna go together hand in hand. Just like when the sun rises in the morning, not only do you see yourself, but you can also see the sun. So similarly, the Bhakti Yoga texts give you the ability to not only realize what is the self, but to also see what you are part of, what you have a relationship with. What is that ultimate reality you're part of? What is that ultimate reality that you have a relationship with? So this is what Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita, and we invite you all. Please consider this timeless bhakti wisdom, this yoga of pure love and devotion, the love supreme. We are certain you'll find nothing more valuable to acquire in life. So I thank you for your kind attention. Maybe there are some questions? It's a lot to think about. Allow yourself to be put on the spot by the zombies. Yes?
Where did you start the first steps to become a teacher from when you were younger?
When I was little, I used to always ask questions. In fact, I was told I asked too many questions. And my father was concerned. He was worried. He said, son, life is not a spectator sport. You've got to get into it. There's money to be made out there. Girls to be had out there. Get into it, son. Don't just ask questions. Don't think so much.